These are Run the Risk and Fan the Flames. Yeah, sorry that it took so long for me to get back to these vlogs. I was just too busy with a few other big ideas, but better late than never, and I'm finally ready to talk about these episodes before the upcoming future ones. In addition, I decided to welcome a very special family to the Inanimate Insanity IV vlogs. Previously on Inanimate Insanity, Jack was the first person voted out of the game because he failed to get along with a single person during the communication challenge. Although Fan introduced a new rejoin technique where the losers had to do some good deeds to rejoin the game, Jack was still not satisfied because he doesn't want to do another second chance scenario. He was so fueled with rage that he threw his digital pager at Bot's legs and made them draw test tube. Luckily, Fan used the Blu-ray to save Test Tube's life. Fan, Bot, and everyone else were so furious at what Jack did, Fan had no other choice but to report him to the OSC. And this is the part where Season 4 is written maturely. For starters, I do side with Fan on reporting the incident to the OSC because what Jack did was completely inexcusable. And I do love that he's willing to give up the game for his friend Test Tube. And I also like that Test Tube is still willing to continue the game despite everything that happened last night because she still believed that Fan's game idea could help everyone find their place to fit in the OSC. And she claims that Jack was always like this before the game actually started. And she still thinks that the game could actually help Jack turn his life around. So in the second episode, the game continues, but it's in the yellow zone, so Suitcase will have to moderate to make sure everyone is safe from danger. And that's what this episode is all about, safety. But first, it's finally time to assemble the teams, and for this season, 4 teams. Fan and Test Tube has arranged 4 teams of 6 based on how well they did in the communication challenge, but also pair them up with a specific character they got along with the most during the last episode. The red team has microphone, tea kettle, soap, teddy bear, cherries, and taco. The green team has life ring, goo, trophy, bone saw, box, and spiky. Yellow team has paper, me tag, poppy, tapey, starfruit, and their alleged leader, light bulb. And last but not least, the blue team has Pepper, Magnet, Cammy, Candle, and Cheesy. Jack would join the blue team if he stayed in the game, but he's willing to help the blue team if he wants to get that extra point to rejoin the game. Oh, and for extra precaution, Jack will be wearing handcuffs to stay out of trouble. I really do think that Fan and Tetsu made a smart move on ranking the teams based on how well they got along in the last episode. One of my favorite parts of the communication challenge is how well the characters got along both old and new, like Candle and Cheesy, or Teddy Bear and Tea Kettle. We even get this interesting idea where the teams had to come up with their own team name using the letters that starts with their first letter's name. They are allowed to add other consonants and vowels, and they can make more than one word. However, the team with the least amount of letter characters wins reward. So as the other teams tried to come up with their own team names, I actually played along with it during the episode for the first time, and it was actually hard for me to think of some good team names for everyone. Even some of the team names they come up with were pretty cool, like Puppet Masters, but they were all by a few letters. But when we do get the official team names, most of the names are pretty cool. Oh, and by the way, spoilers, I am going to give away who actually won the reward challenge. First up, we have the red team as the Mad Cats. Hey, as long as James Corden and Rebel Wilson aren't involved with this team is pretty cool with me. The green team's name is simplest out of all of them. It's Go Big or Be Last. Doesn't really have the same ring as Go Big or Go Home, but it's alright. For the yellow team, it's Heavy Male Pop Stars. Yeah, I know, they could have just removed the word heavy to save some characters, but it sounds more awesome that way. And we have the winner of the reward challenge, blue team, and it's the only team named to have one word, circumspect, which is another word meaning not willing to take any risk, but it looks like the blue team took a risk anyway. It was all Pepper's idea to use that name, but then Magnet stole her thunder. You know, I'm starting to see why Pepper can't seem to get along with Magnet very well. But still, the blue team won and they still received the reward, and their prize is the right to view the outside world from MePhone's bubble. Test Tube has created a television invention that allows the blue team to see the object world outside the island they live on. Yes, the TV has cartoons, but they found out that there's a news station going on bringing out Inanimate Insanity. There's this shadow figure who kind of looks like a TV remote or something. It's bringing up that how Inanimate Insanity is continuing the game, but is off-air to the in-universe outside world. And strangely enough, the news station is doing an investigation on the disappearance of Steve Cobbs. How can the news channel not know everything that happened in the Season 2 finale? See, Cobb was the one that exposed to everyone that Mifune didn't just create the show, he actually made all the contestants. Not to mention that Cobb was responsible for deleting all the contestants using his Mifune X. Did that have something to do with that wire that Toilet unplugged? Is that why the outside world in this universe is unaware of what happened in the end? But for now, the best that the II team can do is just ignore it for now and just continue with the safety challenge. So here's how the safety challenge is going to work. It's going to be a 5-part race. One person will be blindfolded and the other will navigate them. After completing one part of the race, the blindfolded person will be the next navigator, and the next person will be the next blindfolder. The first part of the race will be a regular track and field, then they must make their way through the hedge maze without holding hands, swing across a whirlpool, do some rock climbing, and then finally a go-kart race. The first 3 teams to cross the finish line at the final race wins immunity. The losers will go to elimination ceremony where someone will join Jack as the second person voted out of this game. In addition, if Jack is willing to help the blue team or any other team, if the team that he chooses to arrive first at the finish line, he will receive 1 point to rejoin the game. He needs 5 points to officially rejoin Inanimate Insanity IV. This safety challenge was mostly pretty good, but what I do like about this episode is the cooperation between the characters. I love that Starfruit grows a warm friendship with Lightbulb, like she's the bright light that's helping him get his spark back as a rock star. There's also a funny joke with Microphone where she tries to use the game trick again like she did in the other maze challenge, but when she tried it on Soap, it didn't work out the way she hoped. But my favorite part from the red team is when the cherries actually made it through the rock climbing challenge by taking one big step from it. And Kendall made a good idea using Cheesy's knee slap to make it through the third part of the race. Though I do feel bad about Goo where Bonesaw and Spiky think they're not going to get along with Goo because they think he's not going to get along with them and vice versa because how sharp they are. And since I'm going to talk about the next episode later, they passed the safety test, which means Inanimate Insanity IV can continue. While I still think the first 2 episodes were a great start for Inanimate Insanity IV, I think the third episode was pretty good. Meanwhile, in Fan the Flames, in another shocking turn of event, Meatag has taken Poppy away to somewhere unknown on the island. For the past 3 episodes, the Inanimates are still unsure about Meatag and Poppy, seeing how Meatag used to work at Cops, and Poppy still reminds them of Cops. Fan and Bot were so confused what Meatag is doing with Poppy that they decided to go after them. They follow them at the edge of the cliff where it looks like that Meatag is communicating with another corn person. But this one was purple. This other corn person seems to know Cops very well, but Bob wants to stop the communication because they don't know who this person is and what exactly do they want. On top of that, Meatag created a wall soundproof force field to stop everyone from stopping them, but Fan wouldn't let that happen because their kid Bot is on the other side of the wall. But as he glides in to save his kid, he got struck by lightning. That was a pretty intense moment. I was actually really worried about what happened to Fan after that lightning hit him. But thankfully, he's still conscious, but he still needs a lot of rest at the hospital. But unfortunately, because of the meat test done, everyone was crying test tube on using the Blu-ray to protect everybody. But the problem is, there isn't enough blue shimmer on the Blu-ray to protect everybody, and they still need the blue shimmer to generate other materials. So OJ decided that he will moderate the game while Tetsu gets some rest and check up on Fan later at the hospital. Thank goodness not suddenly the next challenge with a coin flip, because he actually came up with a good challenge for everyone, making a get well soon gift for Fan. And because of that stunt that Meatag pulled, they've been sent to the calm down corner as punishment. For Go Big or Be Last, they decided to open a gym to buff up Fan. The Mad Cat set up a dinner meal, Heavy Metal Pop Stars, of course, perform a stage show, and Circumspect actually came up with a good idea to investigate on what Meatag was doing last night. So when it comes to the Get Well Soon challenge, I wasn't really expecting the teams to go all out with their presents. But for the most part, these ideas were actually splendid. And apparently Heavy Metal Pop Stars are KISS fans. I do like that Trophy actually thought of an idea on creating an exercising session for Fan, and it looks like he and the rest of the team were actually having fun with it. Also, I never knew that Goo's arm would be that powerful as Winners. But we do get some development from Bach where she's still traumatized over tripping over because that's how she became a regular box in the first place. And when Liferine comes to comfort her, he tells her that she doesn't have to explain everything to him, but she can still write her personal feelings on a notepad like a diary. That was actually pretty sweet. After all, the pen's mightier than the sword. In fact, we actually got some more interesting dynamics and information to some characters. Like when Taco actually tried to help Teddy to control her temper, and she explained that there was at one point that the II team tried to repair Meatpad, but there was a problem with his circuits, making it impossible to repair him. There's another one with Tabby where she wants to understand Poppy on what happened to them involving Meatag. But Poppy is worried that the more they talk to someone and create a close bond, they might end up making the same mistake that Meatag did, and everyone will blame Poppy for it. This of course leads to Paper, where he wants nothing to do with Poppy during the challenge. Well, we already know why Paper's having a hard time getting along with Poppy because, you know, but he was still too harsh on them. He has to keep in mind that this person is still not cops. Now, when it comes to the Purple Corn character, it's actually interesting that Circumspect tried to play detective on this one, and we do get some interesting information on who this person is, and it's actually pretty cool that they actually use their TV reward to help them. The only clues that we have so far on this Purple Corn character is that they seem to know cops very well, and they run a cooking show. And it seems like this person really missed cops that much, so my prediction is this could either be his wife or his mother. But either way, I have a feeling that Poppy will meet this person again very soon. In addition, we do actually got some clues on how the news station from the last episode actually knew about fans' Inanimate Insanity game. Although Cammy messed up the investigation for some random human cartoon, I figured out who's been leaking the information to the news channel. It was Meatag! When they show the footage of fans falling down to the ground while being caught on fire because of the lightning, someone was reaching out their hand towards him. And the only person that did that was Meatag. That's how the news channel knew about Inanimate Insanity IV, because Meatag is also a walking camera. But even though they leak information about fans' Inanimate Insanity game, I have a feeling that they're not trying to plan a revenge scheme for their boss at all. This wasn't an intended scheme to put everybody in danger. It may be an idea that Meatag thought would help Poppy. That could be the reason why they decided to get in contact with the Purple Corn character. But as of right now, we don't know yet on who this person is and what they're gonna do once they figure out what happened to cops. In fact, we don't even know yet what the Inanimate Insanity character is gonna do about this new character. Either way, we better brace ourselves for more insanity. So these two episodes were both fun and interesting. Will Fan make a full recovery in the next episode? Will Paper learn to get along with Poppy? And can this game really help everybody find their place in the Inanimate Insanity world? Stay tuned for more adventures of Inanimate Insanity IV!